welcome to CTR, where our mission is to connect people with horses who wouldn't otherwise have the chance. And since we can't be together this summer, we are going to bring virtual horse-powered learning to you. Hello and welcome to episode 6. Episode 6 is brought to you by Sally. She is a 25-year-old pony of the Americas mixed with a Haflinger. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how we keep our horses healthy, their routine veterinary care, their dental care, and we're also going to talk about how to recognize when a horse is not feeling well. So I'm here with Sally to begin talking about horse health. We're going to focus on weighing our horses. So when you take your weight, or when mom and dad help you take your weight, or a doctor, or anywhere that you go, we step onto a scale, and the scale tells us how much we weigh as humans. Now, horses also have a scale that they can step on, but those are really expensive. So the majority of horse farms that you would visit would not have a scale for their horses. They would have a couple of different options as to how they would get their horses' weight. So we use here at CTR a weight tape. So I'm going to get close so you can look at it. So you can see that our horses are measured in pounds, just like we're measured in pounds. When we measure our horses, we use this tape like a belt. We wrap it around what's called their heart girth. So when we were measuring horses a few episodes ago, we talked about how we measure to our horses' withers right here at the base of the mane and the height of the shoulder. When we're doing the weight, we take the tape and it goes right behind the withers down to where we put the girth if we were tacking up our horse, and all the way around the other side of their barrel, if you remember that from when we did parts of the horse. All coming together now. So when we do that, we line up the tape. We want it to be flat. We want it to be straight. We want to make sure our fingers aren't adding any pounds. We go all the way around, and I have Miss Gail on the other side to help me. So I'm going to scoot it so it's straight up and down. And it looks like Sally is about 730 pounds. Okay? Now, our horse's weight can tell us a lot about their health. We would expect certain height horses to weigh certain amounts of weight. The same way that a human can be underweight and be really skinny, or they can be overweight and be more round, horses can be the same way. They can also be too skinny or too big. So our job as the horse owners is to make sure that they're on a good diet and exercise, and we watch their weight throughout the year to keep them where they should be. So we have a little handout that we're going to share with you that talks about comparing the horse's height with their weight. So on this handout, we have pictures of all of CTR's horses. So I'm going to get a little closer because I want to show you something that you might not have seen before. So you can see that we have our horses, their name, their age, and their height. But then does anyone know what these symbols are over here? So this says, I think this equine is greater than or less than 1,000 pounds. So greater than 1,000 pounds would be, for example, 1,272 pounds. And less than 1,000 pounds could be 999 or 1. Anything less than 1,000. Now, when we're looking at this handout, here's what I want you to think about, okay? We have the horse, their age and their height. Now, do you remember what the difference is between a horse and a pony when it comes to height? We have a pony as 14.1 hands or less, and we have a horse as 14.2 hands or more. So ponies are shorter than horses. So when you do this, what I want you to think about is, would a horse weigh more or less than a pony? We have the 1,000-pound mark because typically a pony is going to weigh less than 1,000 pounds, and a horse is going to weigh more than 1,000 pounds. So you have to figure out who's a horse, who's a pony, and if they would weigh greater than or less than 1,000 pounds. So now you've learned all about weight, and we're going to move on to the next health thing for our horses.
All right, we interrupt this program to bring you some more bad jokes.
I've gotten her wing a couple times and I've actually gotten her.
Oh, I got him cornered.
Oh yeah, Molly, you're set up. I got it.
Oh, you got a chicken.
Never lets us catch her.
Oh, good. You got a chicken.
Look at my face. Look at my face.
Do I have a joke?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the
How
joke.
often do chickens work?
I don't know.
How often do they work?
Around the clock. Okay.
No.
I'm just making conversation.
I'm trying to figure out where this
Guys,
goes.
what are you doing out there? I get the feeling that you're hiding.
Well, no.
No.
We'd never do that.
I have another joke. So,
Okay.
why did the pig break up with her boyfriend? Because he was a bore.
And she wonders why we don't hang out with her.
Talk about what we need in the first aid kit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
In here.
Gail! Gail, are you okay? You alright?
Yeah. Hey. What did the horse say when it fell down?
I don't know. What did it say?
I'm falling. I can't giddy up.
Do you need first aid?
Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up.
Hello everyone, and as we talk about equine health and first aid, we're going to show you a little bit about our equine first aid kits and how they compare to a human first aid kit. So with this segment, you're going to get these two handouts. Let me come a little closer. So one is an empty equine first aid kit, and the other looks exactly the same, but it's an empty human first aid kit. And Miss Gail and I are going to play a little game of Go Fish with the first aid kits. And we're going to explain a little bit about, you're going to see a lot of similarities between the two. A lot of the things that we need to take care of humans when they're not feeling good or when they have an injury are a lot of the same things that we need for horses. So as we cover some of the items, make sure that you can draw pictures of the corresponding items that go in the correct first aid kit. So you can do some creative drawing. So we're going to start, and as we go, we'll also explain a little bit about why we have these things in the first aid kit. All right, Gail, can I go first?
Sure.
Do you have any emergency guides?
I do. First aid guide gives me emergency numbers, who to call. It also gives me treatments and symptoms and helps me if I'm not sure what to do. Do you have the same thing?
We have the same thing for the horses. So this is just a general guide to their vital signs, what their temperature should be, and then hanging above the first aid, or hanging all over the barn, we have important phone numbers like our staff phone numbers, the veterinarian's phone numbers, and our farrier's phone numbers.
All right. Megan, do you have any sunscreen?
I do have some sunscreen. It looks a lot like yours.
Yes. We use this all the time to protect us, but did you know we also use it to protect the horses?
Right. All right, do you have any ice packs?
Ice packs. I do.
So these are the type of instant cold packs that you can shake, and they get instantly cold for emergency pain relief that we would have to use in a pinch if someone falls down or hurts themselves. With a horse, we sort of use it for the same reason, but we'll often wrap the ice pack and attach it to their leg because they, unlike us, they cannot hold it on their injury site.
How about rubber gloves?
Rubber gloves. So we have nitrile gloves here, and we need these to protect ourselves when we are caring for others' wounds, and the same goes for when we're taking care of the horses. If you're touching bodily fluids, we should always keep ourselves safe by wearing a glove. Do you have any wound cleaning supplies?
Yes, we have alcohol, we have saline, and we have a quick clean. So quite a few different packets we have in ours.
Yeah, so if you cut yourself, we always want to make sure that an adult or someone that's trained in first aid, like CTR staff, we're all trained in first aid, helps you clean your cut so that it doesn't get infected. And we have all sorts of things to help clean horses' cuts, but the thing I have here is hydrogen peroxide. And if a horse has a wound, we always clean it first before we bandage it.
How about, I have gauze.
Oh, I have something a little bit different over here. We do have some gauze, let's see, but we have different sorts of bandages. We have triangular bandages, we have what this is called vet wrap. So when we use our gauze or different bandaging materials, we put that on the wound and then we wrap it in vet wrap to hold it on. Do you have any?
Is that kind of like my Band-Aid?
Yes, that is a little bit like your Band-Aid.
Yes.
Because we probably cannot put Band-Aids. Band-Aids would not stick on a horse, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
So
You'd need a really big bandage.
That's how that acts as a bandage.
But I do have some tape.
Oh, I have tape too. My goodness. So what do we use this for?
Well, we can use this once we've cleaned and disinfected a wound. We can use this with a piece of gauze. Do you have any gauze pads? I have gauze pads.
I do. I just don't have them with me.
Oh, I'll share. There's one for you.
Perfect.
So gauze pad, wrap it up so they can keep it clean while they're here and then clean it up again when they get home.
And how about last one? Do you have any medications to help with pain?
I do. I have aspirin and also non-aspirin.
Okay, so for horses, this is something called Banamine. That's a pain reliever. And always remember that when you need medicine or someone that you know needs medicine, you always ask for an adult's help. So those are just a few of the things that we use in our first aid kits. You see most of them were similar, some of them were different. So we want to see your creative drawing as you fill in your blank first aid kits. Alright, I'm standing here with Sally again, and some of you may notice I'm projecting my voice a little bit more because I'm currently talking over some heavy rain. As the tropical storm moves up the East Coast, the rain has started as we have progressed through this episode. So bear with me. But we are going to talk a little bit about how to tell if a horse is not feeling well and also how to take their vitals. Observing how a horse is feeling and being able to tell if they're feeling sick or healthy is a lot like how you would tell if we are feeling well. So some things that you want to look for is you want the horse to be perky and looking around. If they're very solemn and their head's hanging low to the ground, that's a sign that they're not feeling well. If they're not eating, if they're not going to the bathroom. Horses are very prone to stomach aches, which we call colic. And that is one of the most common reasons for a horse to get sick. When we watch out for colic, we want to watch for them rolling excessively, looking at their stomachs, not going to the bathroom a lot, and they also won't have gut sounds in their stomach. So we listen to their stomach and we want to hear constant gurgling in their stomach. That is a sign that they are feeling well. We also want to look for general changes in their behavior. If they act a certain way, usually, and they are suddenly not acting that way anymore, then that might be a sign that they're not feeling well. There are other environmental factors that also play a role in horses' health. You have to be paying attention to if it's too hot outside, if they're getting enough to drink. And remember from our past episodes that horses drink up to 12 gallons of water a day. And if they're acting differently, it's always best to check their vitals, which is what I'm going to show you how to do today. So we always say TPR. That stands for temperature, pulse, and respiration. And I'm also going to show you how to check if they are dehydrated, and I'm going to show you how to check their capillary refill time. So a horse's temperature is taken rectally. We cannot put a thermometer under their arm or in their mouth, so we have to take it the good old-fashioned way. And we want their temperature to be between 99 and 101 degrees. I'm going to put a little Vaseline on it. And when you go to stand behind the horse, you want to make sure you don't stand directly behind. And if you remember, a human's body temperature should be 98.7. So it could be alarming to find that your horse has a temperature of 100 degrees, but that is actually normal for them. Alright, so her temperature is 100.7, so it is normal. And the next thing we're going to check is her respiration. So respiration means how she is breathing. If she's breathing really heavy, or if she's not taking enough breaths, then those could be signs that she is in distress. We want their respiration to be between 8 to 12 breaths per minute. And a little bit of math for you all. The way that we check their respiration is typically I count breaths by looking at her nostril or her barrel length area. And I'm going to have Molly keep time, keep 30 seconds for me. And then at the end of 30 seconds, we're going to double that number to get her respiration. So, Miss Molly, if you can tell me when to go, I will start counting.
Ready, set, go.
Alright, so her respiration in 30 seconds was actually 11 breaths. So that would mean that her respiration was 22. So yes, that is a little elevated, but we're going to keep in mind that it's really hot. Sally actually just saw the veterinarian today, so she might be a little stressed out. And that alone isn't a reason to be alarmed. It's just something to consider when observing her overall health. The next thing we're going to do is take her pulse, her heart rate. And a horse's heart rate should be 30 to 40 beats per minute. You can find their pulse in several different places around their body. Kind of like we can find our pulse on our wrists or on our elbows. We can find the horse's pulse under their jaw, and we can also find it right behind the knee. And I'm going to take it under her jaw, and I'm going to have Molly put 30 seconds on the clock again for me and tell me when to go, and I will start counting.
Ready, set, go.
Alright, so her pulse was 22 beats per, or in the 30 seconds we had 22 beats. So 22 plus 22 is 44. So once again, a little bit elevated, but nothing to be concerned about because Sally is otherwise acting okay. So another really cool thing to show you is we always want to make sure our horse's blood is circulating in a healthy way. And in order to look at that, we want to make sure her gums are nice and pink. We do what is called a capillary refill time. So if you can do this on yourself, you're going to press on your thumbnail and you should see white, and then it should return right back to pink right away. That means that your circulation is okay. So we're going to do that on her gums. We'll see how she feels about this. So I'm going to press on her gums, and it might be hard for you to see it. I know, Sally, I know. Okay. Probably hard for you to see, but I did get to press on her gums, and her gums are nice and pink, and the color returned normally. Lastly, before we end, I'm going to show you how to tell if a horse is getting enough water and how to know if they are dehydrated. We're going to do what is called the pinch test. You come a little closer to her shoulder area. Basically, you want to pinch the skin, and you want it to be elastic. You want it to go right back to where it was. See how it it's nice and elastic? You can tell that she's getting enough water. So we want to monitor our horses every day. This is why we want to make sure we see our horses, we lay our eyes on our horses every single day. Horses find all sorts of interesting ways to get themselves into trouble. And they are prone to things, as we talked about earlier, like colic. So by looking at our horses and grooming them and taking care of them every day, we can make sure to monitor them and make sure that they are as healthy as possible.
Did you know that horses' teeth go all the way up into their skull? So our horses have to see the dentist just like you. However, when we look at a horse, we think they only have teeth right up here in the front. But they have teeth that come all the way back here. So the teeth in the front help to rip the grass, cut it, and the teeth in the back help to mash it down so that they can swallow it. Now, horses' teeth change their whole lives. They're always growing. So an adult horse, full grown, can have teeth that are up to 4 inches long. One of the ways that we can tell how old a horse is by looking at their teeth and looking at the shape and where they're sitting in the horse's mouth. Now, even though the horses go see the dentist and they get their teeth filed or floated, they do not brush. So we can see Sally's smile. They're not cute, right? She's got yellow teeth. She's got grass all in them. While we want to have nice white teeth with nothing in them. So when we take care of our horse's teeth with the dentist, they're not brushing. They're just making sure that they're comfortable in the horse's mouth as they can continue to grow throughout their entire lives. They have 36 to 40 teeth that they use to help them chew as they eat grass all day long, which is good for their health. As we've been talking about, grass is one of the best forms of nutrition for them. So we want to make sure that they're able to continue to eat that yummy grass all day long when we take care of their teeth.
Hi everyone, it's Kathy, and I'm presenting a bonus video. We talked about equine dentistry in this week's video segment. So we had the good fortune of our farrier who is also our equine dentist, being at the farm today. So I'm going to pan over here, and in this 5-gallon bucket we have dentistry tools, and Beth's going to take over the narration right now.
Okay, these are float carbide blades. The short one is to float the incisors, the front teeth. This longer one is to float the lower molars. This curved float is to do the surface of the upper molars. This float has a slight angle, and this is to smooth the edges on the cheek side of their upper molars. And this is what's called a molar roller, and this just rounds the sharp edges on the very first molar, on the behind where the horse's bit goes in his mouth.
All right, so what Beth is doing is the speculum looks like a halter, and it goes over top of the halter that we had her in, and this metal piece here goes between her teeth. This is the reason we use Tilly, is because she's the most cooperative of all of our horses when it comes to dentistry. So there you see, it looks like metal lips between her teeth. And then once they're in place, the speculum has teeth itself, and that she ratchets it open. She wants to make sure that her tongue doesn't get stuck in there, or her muzzle, and then she ratchets it open. Now with this in there, Tilly just yawned. With that in there, it keeps Tilly's mouth open. So Beth is able to put her hand in Tilly's mouth and put a file in. So you can see Beth can get her fingers in there without fear of Tilly biting her fingers. There you go. So that's a demonstration. No,
Toothpaste.
no, what? So she's gonna release the crown. So get that out of her mouth right away. Tilly will give a good shake. Yeah. So.
All right, we hope you enjoyed episode 6, where we talked about equine health, taking their vitals, and keeping them healthy. Don't forget to visit us at our website at www.ctrchanginglives.org and like us on Facebook. And now for some bonus footage, we're going to show you update number 3 on the chick incubation.
So it's day 18 of hatching chicks, and there are a few things that we need to do on day 18, one of which is preparing the brooder. And a brooder is basically a place where the chicks will live for the first 4 to 6 weeks of their life. They'll all live there together, and this is sort of what it looks like. It's pretty big, and it'll go on top of the table that we have the incubator on when we're done with the incubator. But for now, it's going to stay down here. You can see we have a waterer, and you might also notice that the waterer has sort of a brown tint, and that is because we have added some poultry cell vitamins to it. It's a vitamin supplement rich in iron and essential amino acids, and it's really good for chickens who might be under times of stress. And as you can imagine, hatching out of an egg is probably quite stressful for a little chick. And then they also have an automatic feeder, and in the feeder you'll see kind of crushed up cereal grains that are easy for the chicks to consume. A nice thin layer of bedding for them to be comfy and also to absorb their urine and feces. And then the last thing we need
is a heat source. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's the brooder with the heat lamp turned on. You'll notice that I have the heat lamp sort of far to the left side, and that is so the chickens can get out of the heat if they need to. They do need it quite warm, about 90 to 95 degrees for the first couple weeks of their life, but this keeps their food and water out of the heat, but gives them the option to either be under the heat lamp or be on the other side of their cage. So now that the brooder's all set up, we do have to candle the eggs one more time before we go into lockdown. There will be a further segment on lockdown, but basically lockdown is when we get the incubator ready for the chicks to hatch.
Hey everyone, it's day 18 of our chick incubation, and tonight is the last time we are going to candle the eggs, which means to shine a light into the egg to check on the chick and make sure they're doing okay. Tomorrow will be lockdown for day 19. There will be another video segment on that, but for now we're just going to take one last look into the eggs, and the next time we see the chicks will be when they hatch out of the egg.
Okay, so here is the first egg, and you will notice with these eggs that the chick is sort of starting to run out of room in there. The black moving outline of the chick is much bigger in most of these, and you can see this one's moving around quite a bit. And here's another egg. You can see this one very clearly. You can really make out a good outline of the chick and see that he is running out of room. So we're not quite sure with this egg. This chick may have stopped growing based on that thick red line that you saw on the other side of the egg and the fact that the big black shadow in there, we did not see any movement. So this egg will stay in the incubator and we'll see what happens with that one. And here's the last egg we're going to show you. This chick looks like it's also running out of room in there, but we're still seeing some good movement.
Alright, so we just candled the eggs. It looked like we had 17 out of 18 actively moving chicks. There is one egg that we're not quite sure about. It looks like the chick was either sleeping or he may have stopped growing in the egg. And that is always possible, especially when you have 18 eggs full of chicks. There is a chance that not all of them will hatch. So we will update you as soon as we get the turners out and the lockdown started.